All right. So what's the plan here today, boys?
Well, so I found you through SGT.
Okay.
I really wanted to touch on my question to start off was going to be, you know how you and what was your other guy that you guys were meeting with?
Jaron,
Jaron, right?
Yep.
That you guys talked about how during this time the world is upside down, and why are you still talking about flat Earth? And I thought we'd start off the show by touching on that question, and then Brian is a podcaster that I met. He's on the other side of Canada here, and I thought he would be our Q&A guy. So hopefully he'll have some questions. I'll have some questions, but I also, I'm on that edge. Like when I listen to you and Jaron talking about, totally destroying NASA videos, I'm like, there's something there. And, I wanted to go down that rabbit hole.
All right. Well,
to obviously expose that to other people in my channel.
Well, here's the thing, as you guys familiar with Crow 777 Radio? Crow 777 Radio, one great podcast. His famous saying is, belief is the enemy of knowing. You can believe you live on a ball, right? Or you can believe you live on a flat earth. But unless you have proof, it's just a belief. Okay? Mm-hmm. So we don't believe we live on a flat earth. We know that we don't live on a spinning ball floating through an impossible, scientifically impossible space vacuum. We know that, the physics of water lie level, and we know a lot of stuff, and we also know that we don't know a lot of stuff, right? Zealot globe believers, and I used to be one. We all, anyone that believes in the globe, all of us, think there's a million proofs for the globe, but then when we look for them, we can't find one, and that's what got me to where I am today. So, for the people that say, "Oh, flat Earth is so stupid," let's have a conversation. I'll bring my proofs. You bring your proofs, and we'll see who's willing to change their mind. And the other thing that we're always accused of, you flat earthers, you'll never change your mind no matter what we show you. Well, no, we were all globe believers, and we changed our mind based on what we were shown. Okay? Here we go. So, Brian, you gun to your head right now, Earth is globe or flat. What would you say?
Well, I'm still on the Earth is a globe. The Earth is a globe. I mean, like everyone, this is what I was raised with and all that, right? So, but I see a lot of stuff in my Twitter feed or my X feed there, and I've seen a lot of flat Earth stuff. And I said, why is this coming up? Why am I seeing this? Is it because of a lot of the other things that I subscribe to? When I'm questioning vaccines and lockdowns and stuff, and now I don't know if that's part of the algorithm. It's like, well, you might be interested in this.
I'll tell you why it comes up. I think it comes up because there's so many flat earthers out there putting out content. They have to feed you something. Something has to break through the algorithm and get to you. There's so much coming out now about this. And once you see it, every flat earther has the same story. I thought it was stupid. I refused to look into it. Right. Then I looked trying to debunk it, not even trying to look for the truth, trying to debunk flat earth and prove the globe. And now I can't believe that I ever believed we live on a globe before. I don't know how I ever fell for it. We all go through the same thing. So I like your answer. You think it's a globe because that's what you were told, but you're here to learn. And don't believe anything I say. Verify everything I say.
Right. So, well, that's what real quick there. I was going to say that's what I appreciate, that you're actually willing to take the time to talk about it to doubters or whatever you want to call me. Right. Like, most people would just be like, oh, you don't believe it, you're an idiot. In the same way that it goes the other way. Oh, you believe in the flat earth, you're an idiot kind of thing. So I'm glad you're taking the time to explain it. I don't really have evidence to prove or disprove it. I'm curious to figure out how you came to this conclusion and why you think this way and all that. Right. So that's why I'll just ask questions here and there and kind of go that route.
Absolutely. And again, belief is the enemy of knowing. Belief takes 0 seconds. Okay. Right. If I told you guys to live in Connecticut, you'd be like, okay, we're done. That was less than a second. Right now, you have a belief that I live in Connecticut. Do you know that I live in Connecticut? Well, if you wanted to know it, you're going to have to take some time. Maybe ask me again, see if you trip me up. Then you go search. I'll look on Facebook. Oh, here he is. I found some of his friends. Oh, look, they live in Connecticut. Oh, look, I found his high school. Then you'd be like, okay, I'm pretty sure he lives in Connecticut. That takes time and effort, right? As Jaron, my co-host on SGT always says, if you want to become rich, invent something that makes people lazier. Okay, because if you look at it, fast food, you don't have to shop, you don't have to cook. Fast food, right? What makes you lazier than that? DoorDash. You can get the fast food delivered to you, so you don't even have to go get it. Okay, right? So, things that make life easier, lazier, do really well. So that's a belief. Beliefs are easy. You can. Someone tells you something, you're like, okay, I believe that. Now you're done. You want to know it, it might take you a day, a week, a year to research it, and people just don't have the time and energy for that, or, and that's the way this whole system was designed.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to Unscrew the News. It's Bruce Scholl, and I have two fantastic new guests with me. We have, I know it's a controversial subject, and that's why I've invited Dave Weiss, the Flat Earth Dave from flatearthdave.com to join us, and a new friend of mine, Brian from Memory Hole Show, to join us and question this globe theory that we've all been tasked with as we grew up. I want to welcome both of you to the show. Dave and Brian, welcome to Unscrew the News.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. So Dave, I know that we talked about this just briefly before, but my first question to you is, and one of the things that I found on my favorite podcast is the question of, okay, the world is upside down. The world we're living in right now is clown world, and all kinds of crazy stuff is happening. So why are we talking about the flat Earth?
That's a question I'd like to get to at the end, but I'm really happy to discuss it right at the beginning, because when you understand, people, we all go through the same thing. We laugh at flat Earth, and then we're like, well, what about seasons? What about boats over the horizon? What about Aristophanes with his sticks and shadows? Didn't the Greeks figure it out 2,000 years ago? And then after all of those things are knocked down, we get frustrated, and we throw our hands up and go, what difference does it make? I still have to go to work on Monday. Okay. Right. And that's exactly where they want you. They want you in a system where you go to work on Monday, you work all the way through the week. You come home, you watch Netflix at night, right? At the weekend, you're weakened by the weekend, right? You go watch sports, and you watch more movies, and you drink, right? Because they don't close the liquor stores for anything, no matter what. Okay. And then you're back to work, and then basically you retire, and they want you dead at that point. Okay. And so when you understand that we are at the center of creation, that we're not on a spinning rock, floating through heliocentric space, in a godless or distant God universe, everything opens up. This is where people think they live, right? They live on a ball, spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, orbiting at 66,000 miles an hour, chasing the sun at about 500,000 miles an hour, moving sideways at over a million miles per hour in an infinite, godless, I evolved from pond scum into a fish, into a frog, into a beaver, and climbed a tree, became a monkey, and then had a mutant, and it was a human. Okay. This is what they want you to believe, because this takes away your true power. We are truly powerful beings at the center of creation. Our thoughts create our reality, right? They don't want you believing any of that. They don't want you to know how powerful your mind is, how powerful vibration is. They don't want you to know that we live in this electric realm, okay, where we have incredible power. They want you lost in space, believing we're overpopulated, which is untrue. Every American family could have a quarter of an acre in Texas, and the rest of the country would be empty. Every family in the world could have an acre in Australia, and half of Australia would be empty. Okay. They want you to believe that we're running out of fossil fuels. Well, there are no such thing as fossil fuels, right? We're not running out of oil. We're not running out of any of that. And we really shouldn't even be using that, because that is the lifeblood of our living realm that we're in. We should just be using the free energy that's in the air that Nikola Tesla has rediscovered for us. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. Right. And we shouldn't be, living our lives to work. We don't live to live. We live to work so we can live. We're the only species that pays to live, right? And imagine if well, how does this all relate to flat Earth? If they're hiding more land, hiding free energy, just those two things alone, more land, free energy. What if you what if you didn't have to pay for electricity for your home, air conditioning, heating, or power for your car? You had something that would just pull energy out of the ether. Nikola Tesla offered that to us in the early 1900s, and you didn't have to. Would that change your life? Would you even need to go to work? Why don't you just garden? You have everything else you need.
Right.
Okay. So that's why it matters, right? When someone says, why does it matter? I sometimes tell them to go watch Plato's allegory of the cave, right? People that live in a cave and they only see shadow figures on the wall, and that's their whole life. And they're like, well, what does it matter that there's more out there? So right. There's my why it matters. So once you understand and last thing, the why it matters doesn't matter if you don't believe that it's true. So let's find the evidence. Let's look at, I use the analogy. You walk into a room and there's 20 slaughtered bodies there, bloody hatchets, everything, whatever you want to imagine. And somebody goes in there and like, well, what's the motive? Why would they do this? And it's like, well, until you tell me that, I'm not going to believe it. Well, today I'm going to show you all the dead bodies. Okay. And that show that the Earth is not a spinning ball in a scientifically impossible space vacuum.
Wow. Fantastic. Hey, all Brian, right. I know that you're itching to ask a question. So go for
it. I guess, I'll take a step back real quick. Cause we all grew up probably in a similar environment, believing in the Earth is a sphere or a globe or whatever. So how, and I'm one of these people that I'm always seeking the truth. And I know I don't believe the media. I don't believe a lot of that stuff. I like to rather search for the evidence, and, things set off my red flags oftentimes. So how is it that you came to change your mind about the Earth, the shape of the Earth, let's say, whether it's a flat or a globe or whatever? Like what is it that made that change for you, that you kind of went down that rabbit hole? Like, how does that start?
Yeah. So that's a very good question. And I was doing a podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, and it was looking into all of the deceptions, from the thing that happened in New York to the thing that happened at the Boston Marathon to the thing that happened in Connecticut at the school to all these other things, right? And so I had eyes open enough to see through those deceptions. And then people said, hey, Dave, have you looked into flat Earth? When I first got the first email, a couple emails, I was like, oh, that's funny. Delete. Then it kept coming. I'm like, all right, ban. You can never, ever comment here again. And then people kept, I was banning people left and right because I wouldn't even look at it. I wouldn't just watch this 1 minute video, David. Watch this 1 minute video. And I'm like, no, I'm too busy and it's too stupid. I have my mind's open to anything, but flat Earth, come on, right? And then one day I'm talking to my friend Sophia Smallstorm, who did 9/11 Mysteries, and we're talking. Actually, I was on the way in to record the podcast. I live in Connecticut. Truth, fact.
Oh,
is it a belief? Do I live in Connecticut?
I believe.
All right, it's a belief. All right, and I'm driving to New York City. I'm talking to her the whole way in. She's a long talker, and I'm in the studio, and we're setting up the studio, and it's going on and on and on. And while I'm talking to her, I'm banning people on Facebook from commenting because they're putting stupid flat Earth memes and shit. Oh, sorry, am I allowed to swear? I try not to swear. And they're putting flat Earth memes and stuff, and I'm banning them. And she goes, and we were talking about some fake bombing event that had just happened. And I was like, Sophia, I'm so blown away in the amount of deception in this world. And she goes, oh, David, it's worse than that. I think the Earth might be flat. And I'm like, what? Not you too.
No, not you too.
Not you too. And she goes, here. And she sent me a couple videos. One of them was Mark Sargent's Clues, which he had just started, I think. And some others. And I started watching them. I said, okay, I'll watch them. And I watched them. And I was like, I don't know what to make of that, And I said, you know what? I'm going to just look deeper. I'm going to research this. I'm going to find out what this PSYOP is about, because the flat Earth PSYOP is here to discredit all of the other good truthers out there. That's what I believed. Okay.
Right.
Because, look, flat, stupid truther, that's investigating 9/11. He thinks the Earth is flat. So now we have to negate 9/11. Okay.
Right.
But then for 2 weeks, I tried to prove the globe. And after that 2 weeks, I was like, holy crap. crap. I barely slept, looking left and right. And at that time, 2014-ish, YouTube would feed you, oh, you like that? Watch this, watch this, watch this, watch it. And they would send us all the good videos. Now, if you Google Flat Earth, Google my name, Google Flat Earth Blue, Flat Earth, debunking the globe, anything, it'll come up with the same hit pieces, the same propaganda, no matter what you search for. There's another thing that happens. Check this out. Go to my channel, DITRH, or any other channel that has real Flat Earth stuff. Watch a bunch of videos that have Flat Earth in the title, Flat Earth in the keywords, and they'll show up in your YouTube history, just like they should. Right? If you were searching, health stuff, cures for the common cold, whatever, a month ago, 2 months ago, a year ago, it's in your history. You just search those words and it'll show up in your history. You watch a whole bunch of Flat Earth videos, real Flat Earth videos, and then search your history for Flat Earth. All of those videos will not show up. And propaganda videos will show up. It's the only topic that happens with. You could be looking up COVID. You could be looking up, anything, Bigfoot, whatever. They'll all show up. But if you look up Flat Earth, your history on Flat Earth, it's been replaced. All of the good videos are gone. That alone right there should tell you something's going on. When Congress had their disinformation, what's going on with all social media disinformation, they used Flat Earth as their example. What happened, and they're like, oh, we're going to just put a label on it. This is not true. And it's an archaic belief. Not true. It's all straw man stuff. So that's how I got into it. I tried to debunk it. And then my podcast actually blew up because the other two guys really couldn't handle Flat Earth, And so we gave it a rest after 3 years. And I started the Flat Earth podcast. And it was the only one at the time. And it was a huge success. It went kind of viral. And then I created this app. Because, you can't, the app breaks the algorithm. That's the app. The app breaks the algorithm and feeds you the content and gives you the information at your fingertips. So there you go.
So first of all, for our viewers, the app is available on flatearthdave.com. Is that right?
Yeah, everything I talk about, you can find at flatearthdave.com. Like we have a conference coming up October 21st and 22nd. It's called Flattoberfest in Las Vegas. You can find it on flatearthdave.com. If I talk about Elon Musk being a fraud, what? Elon Musk a fraud? That's impossible. Just go to flatearthdave.com, click on the Elon Musk banner, 5 minutes. You'll understand that he's a complete and total fraud. And the app is also there. The app's $3, one-time charge. You have it forever. There's a $11 a year subscription if you want to use the communications and profiles and friends with other people and use all of that. It's $11 a year. Basically, you're buying me a margarita and you're not tipping the bartender.
And it's you set it up like a social media gathering place. Is that right?
One besides all
the $11.
Yeah. But well, the $11 it brings you to it's kind of like Facebook where you have friends and you can message them,
right?
You can post stuff and basically people are using it to find significant others, to find people that they want to go into business with, find people just to be friends with, because everybody on the app is super awoke, and you have more in common with them than any other dating or job site will ever put you together with. And then also we have games that you're going to be able to play remotely with other people. That's coming out next. I'm working on it right now. Hopefully it'll be ready by Flattoberfest. So yeah. And then people the trolls out there that if you make a Flat Earth comment, the trolls will jump right on you and go, Flat Earth is stupid, it's dying. Look at the algorithm, look at the amount of Flat Earth searches. In 2017, Flat Earth became the number one search term on YouTube and Google. I think it was Britney Spears and Trump was number one. And then Flat Earth overtook Trump. And the next day, guess what Google did? They took down the scoreboard.
Surfed you.
They took down the scoreboard, and then they changed the algorithm. So they're hiding all the people that are searching for it. They don't, when they say, oh, there's 100 people search for this. No, it's 100,000 people search for it. Okay.
Right.
So, this is just, is this this is a video podcast, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So these are just the people around me. I could touch one of these dots, right?
Oh,
and
nice.
I could look at the profile of that person, and I could, message them and all sorts of stuff. You can search people by keywords. It's literally the greatest way to find awake and aware people. Let's say I wanted to move to Florida. I could search Florida real estate broker, and I could find a flat earth real estate broker in Florida rather than have to deal with a baller normie real estate broker that's selling me a house and thinks they live on a spinning ball, right? I'd rather talk to somebody that knows where we live when I want to move where I want to live.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the next questions I have for you, Dave, because we're looking for the evidence, right? So one of them that really got me was the water issue. Obviously, the oceans, the lakes, on a spinning ball. Talk about that.
So people, the ballers want their cake and eat it too. They go, the earth is so big, you have no idea how big it is that you can't see the curve, right? You used to say, oh, you ever flown an airplane, stupid flat earther? And then we showed you that we can actually send a balloon up higher than an airplane and it's flat. And they're like, oh, okay, well, you have to be higher than that. You got to go, they keep moving the goalposts up and up and up. First they're like airplane, then it was like, oh, you got to be in a big fighter at 70,000 feet. And the Mythbusters, the sellouts that they are, they're showing us this curved earth, looking through curved glass, fisheye lens. But one of their cameras, the rear viewing camera, didn't have a fisheye lens. And there's the horizon, eye level. Okay, so we point that out, and then Neil deGrasse Tyson comes out and goes, "Oh, well, you got to be higher than that." The Red Bull jump, right? And you guys remember the Red Bull jump?
Yep.
So the Red Bull jump, Felix goes up there, and they says, "Oh, I saw the curve of the Earth," and they show this amazing picture with the curve of the Earth, and so we're like, that's interesting, and we zoom in. And we find out that all of this land is New Mexico. Did you know that New Mexico covered a third of the Earth? Okay. I mean, if that's the curve, that's like a quarter or a third of the Earth, right? And then Neil deGrasse Tyson comes out and goes, you can't see the curvature. He had a beach ball globe. And he goes, you're 2 millimeters over this. That stuff is flat. Again, a poke in the eye, right? That stuff is flat from that point of view. So they just keep moving the goalposts again and again and again. But so they want you to believe you can't see the curvature. But then the next best proof is they want you to believe that boats go over the horizon. Okay. That you can see a boat over the horizon. So now using globe math, right? Not flat earth math, globe math. Okay. Do you know how much curvature there is at just 3 miles? If the earth is 24,901 miles around, like the globe tells us, globe believers don't know that number. Flat earthers know that number. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There's 6 feet of drop at just 3 miles. So when you're standing at the edge of calm water, perfectly calm water, not a ripple or swell, and you're standing up and you're 6 feet tall, you should not be able to see the surface of the water beyond 3 miles because it's 6 foot drop. So now you have your curve, right? My mouth is behind this curve. It's a physical curve. Zooming in isn't going to help bring it back in, right? Because it's a physical curve. A globe Earth requires a physical curve at X distance. Now, if there's waves, right? If there's waves, that's going to bring the apparent horizon closer to you, okay? And if there's a fog or any type of atmospheric density, that's going to bring it closer. And if you sit down, that's going to bring the horizon like to less than 2 miles away from you. Now, if you're watching a sunset on California, does that sun look like it's intersecting the water a mile or 2 or 3 miles from you? No, it looks like it's way out there. So what are we seeing then, right? So here is, you don't see any boats out here. We zoom in and all of a sudden we increase the angular size of these boats and we can see them. Now, are these boats partially hidden behind the curve of the Earth? Or are there just swells in their way? Look at this boat. It appears, disappears. Now, is that over the curve of the Earth? No, it's just behind what we call an artificial horizon. Can my finger hide my entire face?
No.
What if it was closer to you? Okay.
Wow.
So these waves in the foreground will hide a boat in the background. And the Globers say, what about big ships, right? And then you look at, you just understand that waves just a couple miles out, a big ship gets smaller and smaller and smaller in the distance. So not only can that 1 or 2 foot wave hide that entire ship, it could hide an entire city in the distance because things get smaller and smaller and smaller in the distance. right? Once you understand that, then you'll understand, people are like, what, the wave's bigger than the ships? No, my finger's not bigger than my face. Okay. Right. So on the app, on the frequently asked question page, on the boats over the horizon button, there are a ton of videos that YouTube is hiding from you. Google's hiding from you. You'll never find them unless you know the channel name and the exact title. But if you go to Boats Over the Horizon, watch those videos. And that's what I did. When I watched all these videos about the boats over the horizon, I went out and bought a Nikon P900. I spent like $1,000 on the camera and tripod, went down to the beach, sat down at the water's edge on a beautifully clear, calm day. And I zoomed in on stuff that should have been 60 feet below the curve of the earth. 60 feet.
What's the measurement at 60 feet?
No, 60 feet. At 10 miles, there's 66 feet of curvature. So know what I did? I didn't just believe that. I said, something's wrong with the curve calculator. Earth is a globe, and this curve calculator is wrong. So I went to looking for what's the proper curvature of the Earth, and there's 3 formulas. There's 3 different ways to derive it. And one of them is the easiest, which is 8 inches, 8 inches per mile squared based off of the Pythagorean theorem. And I said, that's got to be wrong, because I can see this stuff. And of course, the Earth is a globe. So I went to the debunking sites, and the debunking site said, well, that's not how it works, right? Because you think you're here and the drop is here. But in reality, you're here. There's a hump and a drop. So it's only half that amount, right? And I thought about that, and I'm like, that's ridiculous. But let's use it. There should only be 33 feet of curvature. I could see buoys on the water with water beyond them. Where's the 33 feet?
Right.
Okay. So that's the first thing that really kind of brought me in. I'm like, and then I was like, well, what about refraction? And when you look, these things aren't refracted. Okay. They're not refracted. And, the best thing the Globers have is they take like a basketball, and they put I think it was like a little red piece of yarn right over the horizon of the basketball. Then they poured liquid nitrogen on the basketball, and the orange or the red, whatever, the thread showed up, like the color showed up for a second. Okay. That's the best that they have.
Yeah.
But how do you pull cities up like Chicago across Lake Michigan, where it stays there all day? Okay. We can see it, all day. Here's a time. Everyone's seen this famous picture, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But here is a time lapse where now you can see the Chicago's right here. This is I think it's like a close to 24-hour time lapse. So you have temperature changes, lighting changes, right? The buildings are still exactly right here. They're not moving, right? Not moving. And then at nighttime, and the lights will come on, right? And these buildings are here. They're not a mirage. That's all time lapse. Okay. But here's one that really, that I like. Okay. And it is, a Glober will say this. A Glober will say, I can't see, I'm in Malibu and I'm looking Mount San Jacinto is 123 miles away. How come I can't see it? Well, you can't see it because it's below the curve. But then you put on an infrared lens, and all of a sudden you can see it, right? At that distance. This 7,000 foot mountain should be, all of it except maybe the very tip should be below the curve, but there it is. Take off the infrared, blue sky. It's a blue sky, and all of that you can't see. This is how our vision works. It's like looking through an Olympic length pool of pristine clear water. You can't see the far end of the pool. Right? It's just like looking
because of atmosphere and
all the atmosphere becomes sky. The atmosphere over distance becomes opaque, and we call that sky, right? So let me ask you a question. Can you guys see me? Do you see me? Yes. You actually see me? Or do you see the light that is bouncing off of me?
Right. The light that bounces off you.
And now how could I prove that? Turn off all the lights in this room, you wouldn't be able to see me.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
So the light that's bouncing off of me has a certain brightness to it. The light that is coming at me from the light source, I got a nice big light right here. It's brighter than the light that's bouncing off of me, right? It makes sense. Light You know, it diminishes, bounces off. So here is Mount Canigou, okay? From a viewing spot in Aluja, France. And the sun migrates to the Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, 6 months out, 6 months in. Twice a year, it lines up with the viewing spot and Mount Canigou, okay? And you can't see Mount Canigou because the top of Mount Canigou should be over half a mile below the curve. Half a mile below a physical ball curve, okay? Right? So the light that's bouncing off of Mount Canigou isn't bright enough to push 175 miles to your eyes. So you just have sky. However,
it makes sense.
The light source from the sun is much brighter. It can push through much farther, but not forever. And when it lines up for those 1 or 2 days twice a year, there's the entire mountain range. The very top right there should be over a half a mile below the curve. Global argument is it is below the curve. The sun is already set, but it's refracting up and it's not really there. It's magically stopping at eye level. And all of the places in between are refracting their separate distance, all to line up to make it look like a flat plane. This is what they say. And people are like, well, it's a globe, so that must be true. The globe is an assumed situation that they just base everything off of. You know, Eratosthenes assumed the Earth was a globe. And so he did his calculations and said globe. But those calculations work perfectly on a flat Earth. Right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Irrefutable, as far as I can see. Brian, do you have a question?
It's quite fascinating, actually. So see, I looked very briefly at your website, but I said, you know what, I want to hear it from you. You'll explain it better than me seeing it on the website. Okay. And I didn't look up counter arguments or anything like that because I wanted to come into this with as much of an open mind to kind of be able to ask you questions, almost like a teacher and a student kind of thing. So I heard you mention briefly, you know, the view from an airplane and the view from, let's say, the Red Bull guy jumping out. So I guess at 30,000 or 50,000 feet, if the Earth was a globe, you would not see the curvature then?
So here's a balloon at 127,000 feet without a fisheye lens. You watch the whole video. It shows a flat horizon. But the other problem is, one, is that sun 93 million miles away? If it is, how come it has a hot spot in this local area below it? When 93 million miles away, it just light up everything equally, okay? And it doesn't. It's right there. This is clearly a local light. Now, the other thing is, the problem is the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour below this balloon, which is disconnected. All right. It's in the thinnest part of the atmosphere. So when it comes down, the Earth is spinning to the east. So it should land, 3.5 hours up there. It should land at least 3,000 miles to the west. Guess where it landed? To the east of where it took off, maybe 50 miles. Okay.
Right. Like you'd have to be going on an angle.
Right. So
or something.
The Earth is spinning like this, okay? Right? So the balloon goes up, the Earth is going to spin out, right?
Right.
It didn't. The balloon went up, and then it landed east. Kind of like the Earth isn't spinning.
Right. Not moving at all, right? From some of this evidence.
Where are you guys located?
Well, funny point, actually. If you hold up your globe, I think we're not going to be able to believe in Canada either anymore.
Why is that? Oh, because of green.
Because of the green screen.
Yeah. I bought markers to fill in all the green. I just haven't done it yet.
So now I don't know if I can believe in Canada anymore, even though I'm here. It's a belief.
Well, that's another meme that you might come up with. Flat earthers don't believe Australia exists. No, we absolutely do believe Australia exists. Right?
So I'm in Alberta. So I'm in Western Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in more Eastern Ontario.
So here's something. Right. So in the summer, in June, when the sun sets, how long is it still light outside? You're having a barbecue, you watch the sunset. How long is it still light?
Well, June 21st for me, I have 16 hours roughly of daylight, and the opposite.
That's not what I'm talking about. Yeah. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about after sunset. How long is the sky still kind of light?
Quite a while.
Here in Connecticut, it's almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right. So it's probably close to that to you, 90 minutes to 2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But now, what is it now? It's October. When the sun sets, how much time after the sunset do you have? It's a lot less.
30 minutes, maybe?
Yeah, 30 minutes. And in December, it'll get darker even faster.
Right.
Okay. So now, if you live on a spinning globe, right, it's tilted. 6 months later, the southern hemisphere should have the same lighting effects that we have at equal latitudes. So in our summer, in June, the sunlight lingers. In our winter, December, the sunlight lingers. It lingers less. It's much quicker to dark.
Less. Yeah.
Sunset to dark is much faster. There are places in the South in December that literally in 5 minutes it's pitch black after the sun goes down. Okay, so that should be the opposite for people in the South at an equal latitude. Somebody in Southern Australia, equal latitude to you or whatever, or to me, should have the same lighting. Not true. What happened now? Everybody has different amounts of lighting depending on your latitude. Okay, sunrise, sunset, but from sunset to darkness, the entire world has faster darkness now through December. And then the entire world has lingering for different amounts of time, but lingering wherever you are. In June, you'll have the longest lingering light, no matter where you are. And in December, you'll have the least amount of lingering light. Now, let's look at that on a flat Earth and see why that would be. Okay. So here we are. And let me make this a little bigger. Okay, I'm gonna go off the screen. So if you look at the inner yellow line, that's June, the Tropic of Cancer. And the outer yellow line is the Tropic of Capricorn. So let me go forward, October, November, December. So in December, the sun is all the way out over the Tropic of Capricorn, Australia's summer, okay? Australia's summer. With me?
Yeah.
Let me come back here. Yeah, I'm back. So Australia's having the summer because the sun went right over them, okay? Now, if we took those yellow lines, the inner one and the outer one, and we pulled them off the map and we snipped them and pulled them out, the Tropic of Cancer is much shorter than the Tropic of Capricorn. So the Globers come out and say, how do you explain the sun going faster over the Tropic of Capricorn? And the answer is, well, if you look at the arm on this watch, the tip of the arm is going faster than the inner part of the arm, but it's going around at the same rate. The angular speed is different from the linear speed. Okay. So because the sun is moving faster, it's not going over a curve that causes day and night. It's going away, and the sun is a local light and it takes its light with it. So when it's out here going much faster in December, everyone in the world experiences faster sunset to dark. And when it comes all the way in June, everyone has a longer lingering light because the sun is moving away slower, right? When I talk about lingering light and taking its light with it, let me show you a quick sunset. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Okay, so this is me with my drone, and the sun is up high in the sky. And if we were on a ball, it would just go down, 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 and it would just keep on going, right? And it would always go at the same rate, 15 degrees per hour. Okay, but it's super clear day, super cold, no humidity. The sun went down, 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 and it stopped, and it just sat here above this apparent horizon, right? It sat here. This is sped up 2,500 speed. Okay, what's going on? I'll repeat over here. Okay. It just didn't have the power to push through anymore, so it took its light with it. Its light is local, the local light, and it just went away. Now, when I put this up, man, the trolls went crazy. You're Photoshop this and that, blah, 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 right? So I did it again, and I did it again, and I live streamed it, okay? And I have the high def files. People are like, well, how come no one else has ever seen this? How come you're the only one? I go, well, at the time, I may have been the first because to do this, one, it has to be a super clear day. Very few of those with all the stuff that's going on in the sky. 2,
mm-hmm.
There has to be no humidity, so it has to be below freezing, basically. 3, you have to have a drone with a 4K camera and be willing to heat the batteries so they don't freeze and send it up and watch the sun when it looks like it's already almost gone. Okay. And then you have to bring it into your editor and zoom in on that tiny little area so you can see what's going on. Okay. And so I'm the only one crazy enough to do that. Now, a lot of people have done it. It's been done a whole bunch of times. There's a whole section on the app that'll show you a whole bunch of these. And then you understand that the sun is a local light.
So, okay. Can you explain? So you're saying that it's going away from us as opposed to down. Is that what you're saying in that regard?
I am. And thank you for asking. Okay. So remember learning about perspective in school?
Yeah.
So here's our perspective grid. And I'll put a guy in here. So his eye line is right there. The sky comes down, the ground ramps up, right? So if I pop this mountain in front of him, what can we say about this, right? We can say the top of this mountain is thousands of feet above where he's standing. That's we could assume that. Okay. The sun is higher than the mountain.
Correct.
Right? And so imagine if you're on a street, it's 12 noon, the sun is directly above you. Across the street is a 10-story building. And the sun is moving away. You're watching it. You're sitting, let's say you're watching a parade, whatever. Okay. And the sun moves beyond the building. Now you can't see the sun, right?
Right.
Is it below the horizon?
Well, we don't know that.
Well, no, you do know that it's not because it's just behind the building. You just saw it go and your common sense will tell you, no, it's just blocked by that building. Now, how could you see it again? Well, you can climb up higher than the building, or you can go backwards a mile and the top of that building will be at your eye level, right? So if we took this mountain and we so here's the sun going away. So it's like the building, it's beyond it. It's not below it, it's beyond it. And we move the building, we move the building or the mountain away, right? Fill in the sides, fill in the foreground. What can we say about this image? The top of this mountain is thousands of feet above his eyes. Right. And the sun is way above the mountain. But to him, he sees the top of the mountain appears to be at his eye level. We push the sun a little farther and it looks like it's going down. It's just going beyond. Now let's add the sky into that. And so now we have clouds and we look up at the clouds. These clouds are all at the same level, but they all merge into this eye line horizon again. Okay. And even if there wasn't clouds, the atmosphere over distance becomes opaque and it merges into this horizon, this optical horizon, the horizontal eye zone. It's the limit of your vision. Okay. So what can we say about this picture? So first, we'll move the sun away and it's going beyond. What's it going beyond? Well, the top of this mountain is thousands of feet above his eye level. These clouds, atmospheric level, is thousands of feet above the mountain, and the sun is above that. It's just going beyond. It just goes beyond. That's it. And
that's a great explanation.
Yeah. And let me just show you. We'll add one more thing on here. See if I can find it real quick. Here, I'll show you this. So this is how perspective works. Okay. So I set up this, this is my flat earth kitchen. I got my counter and I have this line and where this is the path of the sun and I'm moving it along. Now this could be mountains. It could be cloud deck, whatever. We're just above it. Okay. And I'm showing you from a terrestrial point of view, a camera at the height of the sun, that this is a straight line. Now I'm a celestial point of view. I have a terrestrial camera on the counter watching it from the other side. And when I show it, look at this line. This is a level line. If I showed you this first, you would say, no, it's not level. And I'd say, hey, is this going below this horizon, right? This appears to be at almost eye level, right? Is it going below it? And you'd be like, no way is that a level line. This is a level line.
That's amazing.
In. This is a level line, and this is just going beyond it. Okay. Now let's compare that to a real sunset. Here's a level line. Here's a real sunset. What's going on right here? What's it going behind? Is that a mountain in the distance that I can't see? Or is it just the atmospheric deck of opacity? Okay. And if I zoomed out, the line that it's going behind right here and the line that we think is Earth curve literally becomes one, because I'm zoomed in, but it literally, you can't even see it. So that's how the sun sets.
Holy smokes. I'm blown away.
Thank you.
So I guess I have a quick question. I mean, there's a lot of evidence you're showing here, and how would this be kept a secret? Like, I get it with Google and algorithms and stuff like that. But previous to that, there was supposedly people went to the moon, or people were going into the space station or whatever before they could control the internet quite so well. And I guess they could control TV as well. But how would this be kept under wraps? It would be a very big revelation kind of thing. You know what I mean? And I get Galileo and heliocentric stuff was kept under wraps hundreds of years ago and all that, right?
Personally, I don't think Galileo, Copernicus, Aristophanes, or any of those characters are real. And if they were real people, the stuff that they allegedly did is nonsense. Galileo with his, was it Copernicus? Who's at the telescope? Was it Galileo? Spacing out. One of those guys. He looked at Mars and could see more detail with his little homemade hand-polished glass than our best telescopes can see today. Okay? It's like a 14 times or 20 times zoom. My iPhone is better than that. Okay? And I don't see the detail that he allegedly saw. Right? So all of this is to control us. I mean, I don't know if you guys have gone down the rabbit hole of our old world. Our old world from like 150 years ago was an advanced civilization worldwide.
Is it Tartanian?
No. Tartaria. And just old world. You want to call it Tartaria? Feel free. And there is a clear evidence of the Tartarian Empire. So again, just one real quick on the app. If you hit the homeschool button, which is the little house, we have amazing stuff here. But this guy, my lunch break, little short clips on old world buildings, mind blowing. This guy, Jake, I'm the Improbable Dreamer on Instagram. If you go to his channel and start flicking through his videos, bring food and water. You're not coming out for a long time. And this guy, John Levy, looking into our old world. It is so mind blowing that even me, that have seen it all, every time I watch more, my mind is blown every single day. So when you say, how could they keep it a secret? They couldn't even keep Clinton and his extra, affairs a secret. That's a psyop. That was done as a psyop, as a distraction, and to make people go, everyone uses it. Well, they couldn't even keep a BJ a secret. How are they going to keep that a secret? Right? So not as many people need to be in it, be in on it as you think, right? I just want to show you one thing on the moon landing and get your opinion here. So here is Nixon talking to the men on the moon, okay? Talking to the men on the moon. This is what they showed us. He's on a landline talking to the men on the moon. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool? Okay. Well, watch when the camera pans across the office, right? What's this? Here it comes. Ready? Go back to it. What's this? How did they get the photo of the Earth?
Already.
From the moon. Okay? I mean, did they get it from a previous? I think it's the first guys to land on the moon. So how'd they get that? How'd they get that? Okay? It's all a stage show. I mean, we can't even talk like when the Red Bull guy went up, they were losing communication with him. When David Blaine did his high altitude jump, and again, he's directly above where they were trying to communicate with him, and they literally lost communications.
I love watching some of your videos that you've debunked all the NASA videos. There's a ton of evidence that you've shown us, and I've seen on other videos. And that started me thinking, okay, well, maybe he's onto something. Like maybe this guy obviously has seen something, that we have been brought up to believe something. It's so mind-boggling. And that because you were obviously in the same boat at some point, believing that we were still on a globe.
So here's the thing, if you catch somebody lying about something that they don't need to lie about once, how can you go on believing them, right? How can you go on believing them? So here's an example. On the space station, And when the Soyuz comes up, because now we destroyed the shuttle program, now we have to use Russians to bring stuff to the space station, right? And I always wondered, international space station, we're having wars here and wars there, but everyone gets along in space. Fascinating. Okay, so they bring up some fresh fruit, and they got a lemon, and they were playing around with the lemon, right? And look, oh, it floats lemon, right? So it bounced off the wall, and they went to grab it. Look what happens. I'm going to zoom in. Okay. Look at the lemon. Is that a real lemon?
Oh my God.
Look.
It's like they screwed up their green screening.
It's not even a green screen. This is called augmented reality. Okay.
Right.
And they're literally just, it's not a real object. They can maneuver things in real time, and make it look real. Okay, here's one. Chris Hatfield loves singing, playing guitar, and this guy's holding the microphone. These guys are in different rooms. They're not even in the same room. Okay,
really?
Yeah, and he's holding the microphone and misplaces where Chris is and sticks the microphone in his neck. Microphone is in his neck. Okay,
he's got good pain tolerance.
Yeah, well, there you go. And he could sing right through it too. Right? No,
I love the Canadian reference. Thank you.
What? Chris Hatfield's a Canadian, right?
Yeah.
See, so you have a nice astral liar representing your country, right?
Astral liar. I do love the. What did you call it? They keep moving the globe posts.
Yeah, they keep moving the goalposts farther and farther and farther. No matter what we show, like, oh well, whatever. Right? Here's one. This is when they were approaching the space station. They look out the window to see the space station. Look, that's the space station. Look at that. It's like inside the window frame.
Oh my God.
This is what they show. Right?
It's fascinating that so they think that their lies we can hoodwink the public because I don't know. And now obviously you can decipher it. You can slow these down and pull parts of obviously in 1967, 68, 69, you couldn't do that, but now you can.
Green screen.
Broken.
Yeah, green screen. So how many of these do you need to see?
So they're in a room.
Yeah.
So they're in a room right now.
Yeah, they're in a room. Maybe they're hanging upside down. This is a ball filled with helium, real. This is fake. It's not real. It's like the lemon.
Oh my God.
And they even put a little Star Trek beaming thing there and made the noise. Okay.
Wow.
Is that to trap children's minds? Right. You look at all this stuff that the space movies, NASA's trying to emulate what the space movies do. Okay. It's called augmented reality. It's so advanced. They don't even, this is what we know. This is like a consumer version. Okay. They could do anything.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
I know I'm blown away right now, Brian, but do you have a question?
I'm just trying to think, like, I get the point, I guess, about the PSYOP part of it and all that. So I guess somebody like Elon trying to launch all these Starlink satellites and everything else is either in on it or he knows the truth but isn't telling the truth, or like I don't quite understand. I guess he would be in on the PSYOP.
I go back and forth that Elon Musk is either a completely MK Ultra mind controlled puppet or he's in on it. I go back and forth. Okay. Like, because it's easier to have somebody that believes what they're saying and defend it that way. Like, all the astronauts that go up to the space station know that when I say all, almost all of them, except like there's this one girl that the young girl looked like she's totally hypnotized. And I understand how hypnosis works. Like, if you could put someone in a harness, right? They're floating and say, all right, you're on the space station. You don't see these wires. You're floating. You believe it. You're going to do an interview. And yeah, this girl, like, you watch her eyes, it's buggy, right? And
really?
it's so crazy. so crazy. Maybe I have that. Let me look. This is me. Look, I'm on the space station, right?
Yeah. Wow. Clearly, I believe it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the space station's in Connecticut.
The space station. Well, actually not. This is the actual space station. So let me just see if I have this. Where am I in? Find this. Hold on a second. I haven't done this in a while. If I could find it. Well, let me just show you why I'm looking for that. This is where they do all of their training. There's it's an underwater training facility, right? I'm going to train underwater where water's trying to get in my suit so I can know what it's like to be in space where the air is trying to make my suit explode. Okay. While they were doing this, look, green screen. Why do they have a green screen?
Wow.
Why are they showing the image with a green screen? Right?
That's fascinating.
Right.
It's very bizarre. Right? It's almost like errors they've made.
Question: is this a photo from NASA in space? Is the Earth curved or is it straight? Looks a little curved, right? Is this NASA photo, or did I just take it and put it in the background while they were in a pool?
Wow, that's good.
Okay, right?
Yeah, Photoshops are insanely good nowadays.
Hey, dude, I don't even have Photoshop, and I do it in just like a cheap graphics program. Yeah. I do incredible things, right? And again, it's. I showed you a whole bunch of things that NASA was faking on the ISS. You don't need any more. Right. And you brought up Elon, and people that are watching this that have seen me already, exactly what I'm going to bring up right now. But this is important just to show how fake.
Are you going to bring out the car in space?
Oh, I could do that too, but that's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. So where is it? Okay. So this is an actual test launch Elon Musk did. Okay. You got this rocket. This little crappy little stand is sitting on, right? Now, this thing weighs 20 tons or more, okay? Now, look, this little gassy flame is going to push this thing up, okay? Now let's look at, let me pause it for a second. We're going to think about camera angles, okay? Camera angles and distances. So we got a far shot here. Now, this is a shot that's clearly underneath it, but we can see the side. So how high is that? How high would you say that is?
I don't think it's that high.
It's not that high, right? 100 feet, 200 feet, 300 feet, somewhere in there. Okay. And so it's going up. Now, this is the onboard shot. That looks pretty darn high. Okay. Mm-hmm. Right. And now it's back here again. And now the engines are burning out. Okay. And now it's up this high again. And now the engines are clearly out. Now watch the smoke. What's the smoke doing? How fast is this moving? Look at that smoke. And then watch the edit. Watch the edit, and then the smoke will change speeds. Now look at the smoke. Is that free falling? Is that 10 tons free falling?
Right.
No. And how high is it? Now, look how high it is now from the outboard camera. Okay. This is in sequence. Their thing. Okay, so now this thing is beautifully falling like this. Okay. And then in a moment, it's going to flip upright. Now it's up super high again. How do we get that shot from the ground? Okay.
Now in the clouds, but here it looks in the clouds.
Now watch. 3 engines are going to go on. It's going to flip up miraculously. 3 engines, a little firework. Edit. Cameraman gets right underneath it. Now watch. 2 of the engines are going to burn out. 2 of the engines are going to burn out. So you got 1 engine off center, and that's going to land with a whole bunch of CGI smoke. Ready? CGI smoke. And it's going to land upright. And what does it look like, too? They love their sexual innuendos. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, if I showed you that and said, is that a B movie or is that an Elon Musk actual demo flight? You'd have to say B movie, right? You have to.
Yeah.
You have to say it. But it's the worst, right? And just for a little fun, this is the first shot that Elon Musk got of the Earth with the curve. and in the clouds it says sex.
No way.
Okay?
It does.
It does. Right? No doubting it. Right? And so maybe I've got a dirty mind, but let's go through some Elon, some SpaceX, and some Blue Origin, and Bezos or whatever. So here is a rocket launch. I don't know. It looks a little phallic to me. Looks a little phallic. This is Bezos. It looks a little phallic to me. Right? Maybe.
I think they really like to mess with us, don't they?
Well, here is Bezos and here is Branson, Virgin Atlantic. This looks like male anatomy and this looks like female anatomy. That's just a coincidence. Let's just move on. Okay. That's just a coincidence. Okay.
Don't point out those things.
However, when Bezos takes off, he uses the same cameraman that has Tourette's or something. Nor my blurriness. And the camera is doing this motion. Why does it always do this little, you're looking at a dick and it's jerking up and down. Okay. That just coincidence. Right. Hey, listen, the cameraman has threats. Here is the first Apollo Earth Moon orbiting profile. Okay. That's just me being a little kid. Right.
Just a coincidence. Just Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Fetus.
No. This is a women's vagina.
Oh yeah.
Okay? With the everything. I don't want to say too much. Right? And then they show this one, a flesh-colored one.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And when the women drink out of it, they make these googly faces. It's the grossest thing ever. Okay. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right.
That is crazy. Okay. So I have one question going back to the flat earth that I have to ask, that I've been dying to ask you. So it's about the water and gravity holding the water onto the earth. How do you explain that? Or how do they explain it?
Well, they don't explain it, because when you say gravity, you have Newtonian gravity where mass attracts mass. But recently they changed it to Einsteinian gravity, which is the bending and warping of space-time. The gravity is only a theory. Neil deGrasse Tyson says, I don't know what gravity is. It's a theory. We don't know. Right. And they say, well, gravity has to be real because the Earth is a globe. Therefore, it doesn't make the calculations don't make sense for space unless there's 96% dark matter and dark energy. No one's ever seen it. No one's ever measured it, but it has to exist because the Earth is a globe. And without it, the Earth can't be a globe. Therefore, it exists. Okay. That's called, I don't even know what that's called. It's called stupid. But let's say you lent me $100. And I said, thanks. I'm paying you back. Here's $4. And you're like, wait a minute, Dave. Where's the other $96? I'm like, oh, it's dark dollars. Don't worry. They're there. They're dark dollars. Okay. They're dark dollars. Just relax. They're there. They have to be there because I paid you back. Okay. That's literally what it is. So do you know what the bending and warping of space-time is?
Well, I get the theory.
You do?
Okay.
Tell me about it.
Well, no. Okay, so a piece of paper. I mean, that was the explanation that I understood.
So do you understand it, or you get what you hear what they're saying, but you don't understand it?
I hear what they're saying. Okay. That's all I understand.
So nobody understands it. It's all gobbledygook just to confuse your mind and make you give up and go, you know, the guy in a lab coat with a bow tie who lies, I got to believe him because, you know, he has a degree. Okay. Right. So what makes things go up and down? Okay. What makes things go, you know, if I have a ball, right? I got this ball and I drop it, it goes down because of something. Okay.
Right.
So I say this. Now, this is something that we can never do, but let's just think about it. In theory, I'm holding this ball and I snap my fingers and the entire earth disappears. All the planets, the sun, everything disappears. And I let go of the ball. Why doesn't it go sideways or that way or that way or that? Why would it go down? Right? Because which way would be down if there was nothing else? Right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So let's dig in. Okay. So crazy flat earthers think that down is this way for everybody. Okay.
Yeah.
Reasonable ballers think that down is towards the center. So this guy down is that way, down is in all these different directions. Okay. That's not crazy. Yeah. Okay. That's crazy. Okay. That's crazy. All right. Okay. So here's a question. All right, shut up. All right. Why does this balloon with just, you know, no air, pressurized air in there, just a room temperature, room pressurized air, why is it going down? Why isn't it going up?
Well, we assume that it's gravity.
Something is going down. So let's say it's gravity. Now let me ask a question. If I'm holding my hand up here and gravity was 10 times stronger, what would this balloon look like? Would it go like this?
Out, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I guess
it would be pulling on it harder, so it would stretch the rubber. Right? Mm-hmm. You with me? So
yep.
They tell us, you know, you can't have high pressure next to low pressure without a physical barrier. But they tell us space is a vacuum, like the ultimate vacuum, and we live in a high pressure system. Why doesn't the air just flow away? And their answer is gravity holds it down. What's this air trying to do? Trying to escape in every direction, including up.
Right.
Trying to escape. It's stretching the rubber. So you could say that the air is more powerful than the gravity because it can stretch the rubber.
Right. Even upwards. Yeah.
Even upwards in all directions. Yeah. If we had a box, you got this glass box, whatever, fiberglass box, whatever, and plexiglass. That's what I'm trying to say. And we suck all the air out of it. So we have a vacuum. It's a vacuum. And I have a valve on it. On the bottom, side, top, doesn't matter. And I open that valve. What's going to happen? The air is going to violently fill it. Violently. Okay? It's going to violently fill it to equalize instantly. And this will work at ground level, in an airplane, in a balloon, no matter where it is. When I open it, it's going to suck the air up and away from Earth. So a vacuum does have the power to suck the air up and away from Earth. So why doesn't it all get sucked off into space? Right? Everywhere you go, if you have gas, like let's say we're going to have a barbecue and I say, hey, go get some propane, but don't bring the tank back. Could you do it? Just the propane. Okay? You can't. Mm-hmm. You can't because the gases will violently fill the available space. Okay?
Yeah.
So everywhere except in space, for some reason, all of the gases decide, oh, there's so much of me now, I'm going to collapse and create a star.
So the rules don't apply is what you're saying.
The rules don't apply.
Outside of our,
our physics tell us gas violently fills the available space, but in space, gases collapse on each other and make suns, right? So we have our sun. I'm going to go back to gravity in a second. We have our sun that's holding on to all of the planets out to Pluto and, you know, way out there. Okay. And all of the planets, they have the gravity, they're holding on to their own moons, but the sun ignores their moons, right? Because if the moon's coming around the sun, come around the Earth back towards the sun, how come the sun doesn't pull it faster? And when it goes away, how come it doesn't slow down? It goes around perfectly. How is that possible? Okay. How does this gravitational model possibly even work? You guys have heard of the three-body problem, right? Three-body problem is you have a gravitational mass. You got a sun and you got an Earth and you got a moon. If I had the sun and the earth in a supercomputer model and said, all right, here's the gravity of the earth, here's the gravity of this, it'll go around in a perfect, you can predict what it's going to do forever. Okay. But if you add a third body to it, something weird happens, right? It starts off nice, but then they start tugging on each other and things go a little haywire, and it goes into random patterns that no supercomputer can figure out what's going to go next. That's with 3 bodies.
Wow. Yeah.
Now add 100 trillion of them to our galaxy. How does everything work perfectly? Go out tonight, everybody listen to this. Take a picture of the stars at a certain time from a certain spot in your yard. Put a note in your calendar to do the same picture next year, same day, same time. And every star will be in the exact same position. How is that possible in a gravitational beehive galaxy, solar system galaxy, moving 4.5 billion miles? And we're moving 4.5 billion miles every year, just our sun. Everything else is moving, but nothing ever changes, right? Nothing ever changes. So what is gravity? Why do things go down? Okay. So as I said in my opening, we live in this electrostatic world where everything from the air, from us, from food, from glass, from toys, everything has electrostatic charge, measurable. Okay. And we know that positive and negatives track towards each other. We know that. This is scientifically provable. Okay. So here we have a bunch of party balloons. Now the Earth has a negative charge. It doesn't move. So this thing is just neutrally buoyant above the floor, and it's just a couple inches above the floor. And this wire goes to a Van de Graaff generator, and we're going to add a positive charge to this. We're just adding a positive charge. And as we do, all of a sudden, it is now heavier. How do we make it heavier? Just by changing its electrostatic charge. We discharge it, and it goes back up. So am I defying gravity? Am I messing with gravity, or am I messing with the electrostatic charge? And if you look at the periodic table, each element that's heavier than the one before has one extra positive charge to it. So the more positive charge it is, the heavier it is, because the more it's attracted to the Earth.
Okay? Magnetically.
Well, electrostatically.
Electrostatically.
So here we have a tinfoil triangle, and we put a negative charge into it. It goes up, right? If we put the negative charge into it and keep it in, is it defying gravity, or is it defying electrostatics?
Wow.
Right? Right. And
gravity is the weakest of the powers, I believe.
So yeah, hang on. So that's my favorite thing to say. Okay. This is done by MIT. It's called the silent drone. There's no moving parts. No moving parts. They just change the electrostatic flow. They say it's an ionic wind, whether it stirs up the air or not, I don't know, but there's no moving parts. It's an electrostatic flying device. This is what they're hiding from us. Imagine if your car could do this. That would be pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, and it pulls energy out of the air, so you don't even need to refuel it, recharge it, right? What if that was available to all of us like it was 150, 200 years ago? Okay? So why does it matter? This is why it all matters. It all matters because of this, okay? So what did we prove here? We proved that the electrostatic force is a true force. It's something that we can actually manipulate, right? And we live in this electric system. The sun and the moon are the anode and cathode. The salt water carries the current. The land is the salt bridge. That creates your battery, okay? We're in this free energy system that is truly amazing, unlimited, free, clean, I don't even want to say renewable, just existing energy that can never run out. Okay, we are energetic beings. Take all electricity out of your body, you're dead. Okay, so they tell us that, and by the way, they always tell us the truth. NASA wants to go to the outer space. I think the outer space is beyond Antarctica. Okay,
right.
I think extraterrestrials come from the extra territory beyond Antarctica. Extraterrestrials from the outer space. Okay, so
extraterrestrial. Wow.
From the extra terra, the extra land. Right. So where's I going with this? So they tell us that gravity is a weak force. Let me ask you a question. got this book here. This book weighs, I don't know, 2 pounds. If I want to push this book up to my hand, what's the minimum amount of force that I need to push to get it up here? If the book weighed 2 pounds.
2 pounds, I guess.
2 pounds. 2 pounds. If I want to put 1 pound of force, it would go down. 1.5,
right, so
down.
More than 2.
1.9999, it would just go down slowly. 2 pounds, bam. What if the book weighed 5 pounds?
I'd have to put at least 5 pounds.
Presumably or provably?
Well, I mean, there's another force that we think of that's pressuring down.
If you had a 45-pound dumbbell, a weight, a plate for lifting, how much how many pounds of pressure would you need to hold it up against the ceiling?
Well, at least 45.
At least 45. If you had trillions of tons of water on the bottom of a ball, how much force would you need to hold it to that ball?
A lot.
Quite a bit.
Trillions of tons of pressure.
So it's not a weak force, is what you're saying.
No. So no, if it is, then how can I hold my arms up, right? It is.
Right.
So they tell us that gravity is a weak force. They also tell us that the electrostatic force, which isn't that seem to be that strong, is 10 to the 36 power stronger than gravity. This is what mainstream science tells us. I think they're full of crap. Okay. But this is what they tell us. So let's examine what that means. What it means is, first, you guys know how long a trillion seconds is? Just to show you how big a trillion is. How long is a trillion?
No, really, no.
So if you guess it within 5 days, I'll give you a Bitcoin. Take a guess.
A year.
A year? Just a straight year?
Yeah, it's a random guess. I don't know.
10 years.
10 years. Closer. 31,000 years. Okay. So 1 trillion seconds is 1 trillion seconds is 31,000 years.
Wow.
Okay. That's a trillion seconds. Question. So Brian, I'm in the room with you and you dissed my girlfriend. So I punch you in the shoulder. Just a punch, a guy punch. And you're like, yeah, I deserve that. Right. Ouch. Right. If I punch you 10 times harder, would it knock you down? Maybe. How about 100 times harder?
Possibly.
Probably break your shoulder.
For sure.
Okay. 1,000 times harder might break your back. Okay. 100,000 times harder, probably send you through the wall. Okay. 1,000,000 times harder, you'd probably explode and everyone within 50 feet would probably die. Okay. 1,000,000,000 times harder, I don't know. Maybe nuclear bombs do exist because you might look like one. Okay. 1,000,000,000,000 times harder, I think it would bend and warp space-time. Okay. That's 10 to the 15th power. Okay. Gravity, they say the electrostatic force is 10 to the 36 power stronger than gravity. You know what that means? That means if gravity was 10 to the, if electrostatic force that we can measure is 10 to the 36 power stronger than gravity, then if there was only gravity and I had a 45-pound weight, barbell, whatever, and I let it go, it would probably take 1 billion years before it hit the ground because there's really no force pulling it down. So they're telling us that gravity doesn't exist. Okay. That force is so weak. If that was the only thing pulling it down, it wouldn't move.
Yeah.
10 to the 36. You can't fathom what that means.
No.
Okay. You can't fathom.
It's so out there.
Yeah.
And don't you think that that's part of it too? Is that they make it so unfathomable that you don't even look into it?
Everything is unfathomable. It's unbelievable. This is the hypersonic sled track. Now this is it's the fastest sled on Earth. It goes Mach 8.6. They want to see how fast they can go. Mach 8.6, 8.6 times the speed of sound. You can't even fathom what you're seeing here. Okay, watch. Can't even see it. Now, could you fathom what twice that speed is? No, your brain can't even process that information. You have to believe that if we live in the heliocentric system, right? If we live in this, if we live in this system, that you are going around the sun 10 times faster than that, and you are chasing the sun. Ready for this? 100 times faster than that. 100 times. Wow. So you're going in 2 different directions. A lumpy water ball with air is moving in those two directions. Forget the spin of 1,000 miles an hour. That's only nothing. That's Mach 1.5. Okay. Forget that. It's doing all those things. But when we go out in nature, this is common sense. We're not moving. This water's contained by the lands that are going all the way around it. Okay. This is common sense. They want you to believe nonsense because it's in a textbook run by the Rockefellers, who have clearly stated they don't want a world of thinkers. They want a world of workers. Okay.
Right. Hey, can you pull up that photo that you had of the balloon, however high it was above the Earth?
120,000 feet, 127,000 feet. This one.
Yeah. Now, you talked about this going up, and the Earth is spinning. So I'm throwing this out there because I'm trying to grasp it, obviously. But the Earth is spinning, and it should have been thousands of miles away from where it first started, correct?
Well, the Earth is spinning below it. Don't you think that it would outrun it?
Yeah. So also, should there not be some sort of a force pushing on that balloon if the Earth is moving? And I mean, it's supposed to be in a vacuum. I mean, there's supposed to be some sort of a force if the Earth is spinning so fast.
Let me tell you what they say. What they say, the reason that the Earth's atmosphere spins with the Earth is because of the friction of the lands, the lumps, the mountains, and the friction pulling the air with it. And over thousands of years, it has sped up all of the air to spin perfectly with the Earth. Okay, this is ridiculous. It's so stupid. Okay, right? Like if you have your hand in a big pot and you're trying to make a whirlpool, you have to keep going, and it's never going to go as fast. And right, but that's water too. This is air, and it's supposedly all going. But we can have a summer breeze blow the wind left and right. We have hurricanes that come in and spin in different directions. We have at 40,000 feet, we have 300-mile-an-hour winds that are outrunning the spin of the Earth. Earth is spinning this way. Those winds are outrunning the spin of the Earth.
Wow.
Okay. Right. And we're supposed to believe that friction has caused all of this to go around. Baloney. Ridiculous. Right. Think about this. You're in northern Alaska. Okay. So you're close to the North Pole, northern Alaska. So one spin around is going to make a circle 360 degrees, but it's a small circle. So how fast are you really going versus somebody on the equator at the same amount of time? They're making a 25,000 mile circle. So they're going just over 1,000 miles an hour. So in Alaska, you're going like 200, 300 miles an hour, maybe less. Okay. So you're on an airplane on a runway in Alaska.
Yeah.
You're not moving, but if you add the spin of the Earth, let's say it's 300 miles an hour. Airplane takes off, speeds up to 500 miles an hour. I don't know if you add it, subtract it, whatever. Let's add it. 500 plus 300, that's 800 miles an hour. So the Earth has its initial tangential speed of 300 miles an hour relative to space, 0 relative to Earth, speeds up to 500 miles an hour, flies to Ecuador, wants to land on a north-south running runway. That runway is moving sideways at 1,000 miles an hour. How's that airplane going to land on it?
Wow.
Okay.
This is mind blowing. Like I'm sitting here and I'm squirming. I'm like, oh my God.
Here's the
I was going to ask about flights and stuff like that too. To expand on that, if you will.
Yeah. So flights is another thing that gets a lot of people. So if you're not like, okay, well, what's going on? This is going to get you. So let's do a little base work first.
Yeah. Northern
Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere, right? Canada doesn't exist because it's empty. Okay. All right. Northern, South, then you got the equator. Okay. So the equator is around the middle. Now, let's say we have, I don't know how many airports are in the north, thousands. Any two combinations of a northern airport to another northern airport, would that plane ever, in any circumstance, need to go below the equator to get to their other northern location?
Right. I can't see why, but
yeah.
And no plane ever does.
Right.
southern hemisphere. You have a southern airport and another southern airport. Would it ever need to go above the equator to get there?
I'd make the same assumption.
Well, it would have to be the same, but that's not what happens. Okay, that's not what happens. So let's look at a couple flights. All right. So here is.
Sorry, Dave. Just before you get into this, how are you for time?
I'm good.
You're okay. Okay,
yeah.
We'll go a little over. Yeah, we're good.
All right, so we'll do this and then we'll wrap it up. So this is the map that's used in autopilots. This is the Gleason's map, right? This is the map of the world that was in every textbook and encyclopedia and library until the late 50s, and then it disappeared when the Rockefellers took over the school system. I don't know.
Right.
Weird. Okay. So here is, where are we going? All right. Here's a flight from, I don't want to show you that one. Actually, I want to do this set. Here's a flight from Auckland, New Zealand to Lima, Peru. It goes all the way up here to Los Angeles and then all the way back down. Why doesn't it just fly here? Well, the answer is Auckland, Los Angeles, Peru. Straight line.
Wow.
Look at another one. Auckland to Mexico City. It's arguably shorter if they just went this way, but they go all the way up, all the way over. Look at it again. Bam. Straight line.
Holy smoke.
Buenos Aires to New Delhi. All the way up, all the way down. Here it is. Bam. Straight line. Okay. Johannesburg to Wellington, New Zealand, stops in Doha. All the way up, all the way down. What the heck is going on? Why didn't it just cut across here? Right? Got to protect the penguins, so we'll just fly around not to disturb the penguins. Right? But if you look at it,
you can't fly over Antarctica
because you can't disturb the penguins and it's too cold. Baloney. Nonsense. Okay.
Well, we know that it's hidden, right?
Well,
I mean, we're not allowed to see what's down there.
That's a whole nother. We'll get there if we have time. Okay. Montevideo to Perth. Right? Why does it just cross over here or just go around if you don't want to fly over Antarctica? There's plenty of islands to land on there. All the way up, all the way down. It's almost twice the distance, right? But if you look at it, they fly across Australia. It's a straight line.
Wow.
Right? So Sydney to Lima, Peru. Oh, we looked at that. All right. So the only argument is well, they had to go there because that's their hub and they have to change pilots and other, drop passengers off. There's a book called 16 Emergency Landings Proving Flat Earth. This is the fantastic coffee table book available on my website. You can find it on lulu.com. And there's also a free PDF online if you just want to see the research. But if you want a coffee table book that if anyone picks it up, they'll become a flat earther. This is a great, 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 amazing book. Okay. So let's look at some of the stuff in there and see what happens. Okay. So where are we going here? Nice easy one. Okay. So this is one. They were flying from New York to Hawaii, and there was an emergency. Someone got sick, someone's having a baby, whatever, and they flew to Seattle. Almost 1,000 miles out of the way, and they got there very fast in minutes. That's 1,000 miles in minutes. How does that work? The answer is right there. They're right over Seattle on a flat Earth map. Okay, on a globe map, Seattle's out of the way. Let's look at one that's a little more extreme than that. Okay. This one from London to Pakistan, stopped in Moscow. On a globe, it's out of the way, but on a flat Earth, it's right on there, right? Again,
all right, Dave. So
good.
Now I'm dying to ask this. So, what do you think? The pilots all know this?
No, not all of them. Lots of them do. We talked to Qantas Airlines pilots. These are the Southern pilots. They all know. They talk about it amongst themselves, and they know that if they mention it, they get grounded. So they don't want to lose their jobs. So they don't talk about it. And it's like our old pilots and scientists on the app, on the frequently asked questions page, are all the pilots and scientists in on it? And the answer is absolutely not. Most of them have no idea. But we just put out a video, 3-hour video, 27 pilots admitting the Earth is flat. And they tell you, okay, they tell you why it's flat. I mean, airplanes fly over the Earth plane, not the Earth curve, not the Earth globe. Airplanes, airplane, Earth plane, okay? Moscow, way out of the way. Moscow, right on the path, okay? Again, this one went all the way to Calgary. I think it was 1,500 miles out of the way. Calgary is right on the direct line. All these emergency landings, they show it's right on the line, not out of the way. Don't be deceived that, that doesn't look that far. That's thousands of miles, okay? But it's right on the flat Earth map.
I don't know if you have the answer for this, but my question then would be, if you had to do an emergency landing and you landed in, let's say that example where it landed in my city, Calgary. So would the pilot not know that?
Pilots not even know. The pilots don't know because they don't know where they are. They're literally bus drivers up there, autopilots flying. They just take off and land. Okay. And now some of them might figure it out. But here's one that I'm wondering if I'd love to talk to this pilot. All right. Well, let me show you this one first. New York, New Zealand, emergency here. They went over to Fiji. Okay. Why did they go to Fiji? Why didn't they? And they got there entirely too fast for that amount of distance. Okay. Right. But if we look at it, what happened was New York, Fiji, right on the line. Okay. Zoom in. New York, Fiji, right on the line. Again. But here's one that this pilot better be scratching his head, okay? And maybe the pilots that take this flight, maybe they do know. Going from Hong Kong, they're supposed to go to the UK, end up stopping in Germany. 12-hour flight. 4 hours into the flight, right about here. A family.
We're not seeing it yet.
Oh, you're not seeing it. Thank God. 4 hours into the flight,
okay.
The mother of the family traveling together, little kids, husband, mother dies suddenly. Weird these times. Okay. So mother's dead in her seat. Kids sitting next to her, full plane. What do you do as a pilot? You got to land. You got to land right away.
Yeah.
They didn't land for 8 hours. Okay. And they ended up landing in Germany. At that point, those kids are ruined forever. They should have just gotten them home. Okay. Just another hour to the UK. Okay. But why didn't they land? And here's why. Because if you look at it on a flat Earth map, they were over Russia. And if we landed in Russia, Russia would probably be very helpful, and that could spark peace. Can't have that.
Yeah.
And people would be like, what the hell are you doing over Russia? And people would figure out the Earth is flat. Okay? So this pilot, actually thinking about it, they're not giving him clearance to land. He doesn't know why. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know anything. He landed in Germany. Probably doesn't know anything. Wow. Yeah.
So they would have just said, here, plug in the coordinates. You're landing in Frankfurt.
This is exactly where they don't know where they are. And no pilot brings a globe in the cockpit to look at it. No one's looking. No one's doing that. So let me ask you a question. I showed you a little while ago that NASA is a bunch of liars faking space, right?
Yeah.
Guess who controls all international flight plans?
So NASA.
NASA is really not a space agency, NASA. They are the the highest world intelligence organization that the CIA, the FBI, the KGB, the CCP, they all report to NASA.
Well, I think you and Jaron were both talking about this on a previous show, is that they're paid $8 million a day, or their cost is
$8 a day. 80 $80 per day. Now, I don't think NASA gets that money, because if they would do a lot better at their fakery if they had that kind of money. That's all black budget, stuff that goes into all underground dump.
Funneled off somewhere else.
Whatever, yeah. So again, we have all of these emergency landings that make absolutely no sense on a globe Earth, but for some reason, they make perfect sense on a flat Earth. This one stopped in Moscow, okay? It got there incredibly fast. Moscow, right on the line.
Wow.
Yeah. So
amazing research, Mr.
Well, not just me. I'm just presenting it. This is all the flight route stuff. We have a channel called Flat Earth Banjo USA in Japan. And he used to work for the airlines. doing like flight control and all sorts of inside stuff. And he became a flat earther and is whistleblowing, screaming out every day. So
wow,
there's tons and tons and tons of evidence like this, right? Yeah. People are like, well, what about flying from Santiago to Australia? It's 15 hours. How does that possible? Right? Because, from the USA to China, it's the same and it's half the distance. So my question is, if I had a brand new Porsche here in Connecticut, where I may or may not live, and then my grandmother has an old Datsun, and she's going to drive to Salt Lake City, and I'm going to drive to California. Who's going to get there first? Me. You know why? I'm driving faster. Okay. Airplanes go at different speeds, right? That's simple, right? And then if you look at if you go look at wind speeds at higher altitudes, it's crazy. So let me put this up. If I on the app on the bottom right hand corner, that dot with the little map on it, this brings up the flat Earth map, and we can pull up the wind charts. And I'm going to go to 10 HPA, which is about 40,000 feet. Come on, go there. There we go. And these winds, the pink and white, that's going like 200-300 mile an hour winds. And then if you look at that inner the red circle, this is going in the opposite direction. That's like 200 mile an hour winds. So if you want to go from Santiago, you go in here, you got a 200 mile an hour wind, a tailwind, follow that around, brings you all the way over to Santiago. You follow this over and do the math. You got a plane that's going 600 miles an hour, maybe even 700. Add 200 mile an hour tailwind. You're 14, 15 hours. You're there. Okay. You have to believe that planes haven't gotten any faster since the 70s. There's no such thing as tailwinds, right? And we do the math looking at these winds, and we know that aircraft use, wind streams. They would have to be flying for some of these trips like 300 miles per hour because they didn't want to get into that tailwind for the amount of time it takes them somewhere. So on the app, on the frequently asked questions page, if you hit that question mark, right here is, where is it? Southern Flights, right here. Boom, Southern Flights. And if I click that, up comes all the videos that they don't want you to see. None of these will show up in your Google search. Why are they hiding it? Why are they hiding it?
Oh, this is a great resource.
Wow. Yeah. Why are they hiding it? And another resource on here is I have images, because images and memes speak a lot. So you click the images button, and let's say you want to show somebody how stupid the moon buggy is. You just type in buggy. Yeah. Boom. There's the moon buggy, right? So these are the guys flying around, driving around on the moon buggy. This thing, look at it. What is that? Look at that. Are those two beach chairs? Right?
That's what it looks like.
And what is that? Is that an umbrella with gold?
That's clearly an umbrella.
Clearly an umbrella, right? Right. So this is the one I like. Back, this is in 1970, right? This thing costs $38 million. And in today's dollars, which are plated, $37 million, you can get this puppy right here. Okay. Look at that. 37 million today.
Yeah.
You could probably have bought 3 of those with 38 million back then. And then we get this little Jeep. Okay. So many things. But there's tons. We're putting thousands of images in here. So anything you want. Like if someone says, what about the sun under the clouds, right? Just put sun under, there it is. And this is a great picture that I actually took. So the Globers have this thing where they're like, well, you can see the sunlight underneath the clouds. The optics of the sky are no way to prove the shape of the ground below you. But here's the sun clearly below these clouds, and the bottoms of the clouds are dark, and the tops of the clouds have the sun on it. This sun is higher than these clouds. We know this. It's just perspective. Right. It's just how we see the world. Okay? Right? So all of this stuff is handy dandy. You can find it all at flatearthdave.com. Let me just do one more thing, and then I think we can wrap it up. So
Ryan, do you have another question before we let Dave go?
And it's in a different direction, I guess. So
I'll go.
Dave, show us your thing, Dave.
Yeah.
What do you want to say? Oh no, it was just this is just which line is higher, yellow, orange, or red?
I want to say it depends on your perspective.
Yes, you're right.
Which line is shorter?
Depends on your perspective again.
Yeah.
Here we are. I'm sitting on my deck. This bush is about 5 feet above the deck.
It looks like Connecticut.
This is 5 feet. Oh, maybe I live in Mexico. Okay. This of the deck. The deck is 10 feet above the beach. So this is 15 feet lower than this. This is the water level.
Mm-hmm.
It's 15 feet lower than this, right? And if we go here, this is about 8 feet, maybe. This is about 15 feet, and this is maybe a mile or 2 or 3. Okay, it's all about perspective. It's how our eyes, how we see the world. All right, back to you.
So totally unrelated, I guess. Well, not totally unrelated, but to this part of the conversation. So if the Earth is flat, is it like a coin? Is it flat on the bottom, or is it like rocky on the bottom, or what's on the bottom, let's say, or you know what I mean? Like how would I try to conceptualize this thing?
Good question. So the deepest hole ever dug is the Russian core borehole, or whatever they call it. And U.S. and Russia worked on it for many, many years. And they got down to 7.8 miles, just under 8 miles, and they hit an impenetrable barrier. They couldn't get through it. They tried again and again and again, and they could not break through it. So that would be like drilling through the skin of an apple, but only like a quarter of the way through the skin of an apple. And when you're drilling, you're trying to guess what was going to happen next, and you were wrong every step of the way, but then somehow knowing what the core of the apple is, right? So they couldn't figure out what was in the, what was below 7.8 miles, right? And when they were digging, they were wrong every step of the way using the ground penetrating radar. So here's my example. You got your apple drilling. So somehow they know what the core is, a molten magnetic core, which again is another poke in the eye, because you can't have a molten magnet heat a magnet before it melts. It reaches what's called the Curie point, and it loses all its magnetism. But somehow we know 4,000 miles down that there's a molten magnetic core when we couldn't even guess what was on the top part of the thinnest part of the crust. Okay. This is a meme with zero scientific evidence that's in every school book. Okay.
Right. Again, it's more lies that we really don't know because we haven't seen that.
Right. It's a complete and total made up lie.
Fabrication.
Total fabrication made up on nonsense. You Google flat Earth, and this is what you're going to get. This is what they want you to say. This is a flat Earth society. Flat Earth society is a government-run disinformation site. This is not flat Earth. Only purposeful deceivers will use this, and people that have been gate kept think that this is what flat Earth believers think, and therefore they'll never even look at it. This is what kept me away from looking at flat Earth. Right? They show us, this. Oh, you're the only flat pancake. This is a false flat Earth model in a false heliocentric model. Okay. Right. Nobody believes that. Nobody except people that haven't looked into this at all. Nobody believes that. So,
probably trying to people that are trying to dissuade you from looking at it. Right.
Absolutely. Like anytime, CNN does something, they'll show you this, they'll be talking about this, and they'll make jokes. And then people, making a joke is a great way to scare people away. Then they'll like, look, we did this. We froze the sky. This is the Earth turning. No, it's not. It's the sky turning. It's just a camera trick, right? You have to believe that this is going on. If you believe in a heliocentric world, then the sky's not moving. You're moving. This water doesn't say that I'm moving. And, once you're going a certain speed on an airplane, you can't tell the difference. I'm like, you want to compare the airplane to the spin of the Earth? You have to take off the outer shell. You have to double the speed of the airplane. You have to nosedive as fast as a free-falling skydiver just to follow the curve. Okay? And then let me know how your glass of water is doing and your walk to the bathroom's going. Okay? It's the comparisons are fallacious and straw man's, and they're absolute, complete and total nonsense. So what is the flat Earth like, right? Well, they want to tell us Antarctica is a continent at the bottom of a ball, all right?
Mm-hmm.
There are no photos of Antarctica from space or from high altitude. They're all cartoons. Why is Antarctica off the list? Off the list, all right? So the way I look at it is the Earth realm is the basement, the floor of our realm, of our universe. The world pond is surrounded by land that's higher than the pond. Did you know that the average height of Antarctica is higher than every other continent on Earth?
No.
Antarctica is like 200 feet above sea level all the way around. It's the container of our pond.
Right.
Okay. And when we talk about the ice wall, it's the shoreline of Antarctica. Climb up and you know, there you go. You're in Antarctica, and what's out there? Okay. What they did, imagine if I cut this out and I wrapped it. Oh, this is an end. Not there yet. All right. This is just how we see the Earth. You got the moon, you got the sun, and it goes around, and it's very local.
Mm-hmm.
This is Antarctica. It's the shoreline of our world. Antarctica is likely bigger than all of the other continents and oceans in the world combined. This is the shoreline of our world. Antarctica goes on and on and on. They say that the mountains in the outer part of Antarctica are taller than Mount Everest, but we don't have access to them, right? They want you to believe this is the edge of the world when this is the edge of the world. Okay.
Obviously, we need to have more conversations, and because I want to dig into more of what you obviously know ahead of us. So, here's one last question. Are we allowed to fly over, or is there a rule that you can't fly over the Antarctica?
Yeah, so there is a big rule that you can't fly over Antarctica. No one, they say it's too dangerous. There's no way to rescue you. It's too cold. They come up with excuse after excuse after excuse. And, like, well, Pan Am flight did it, in 1978. No, they didn't. Okay. We've exposed every time they say they're going to do something. And we show that they literally just went to the edge and turned around. And when we look at people that say they're going to circumnavigate, there's one guy called ZQ Pilot was going to do a north-south circumnavigation and get the world record. But like, okay, let's watch this. And that literally you could track him. He went all the way around, and he went down to Antarctica from Santiago, and then he turned around and came back up through South America. Like he just went there and turned around and came back. And he got the world record from Guinness for the southern northern circumnavigation. No, he didn't. Just like me going to the end of my street, touching the pole, going back to the other end of the street, touching the pole, and coming back and say I circumnavigated.
Right.
That's all I did. Right. And when why are they doing that? So in 1958, right around there, 1950s, Admiral Byrd was doing Project High Jump, and he flew out across from Middle America. This is his quote. He goes, from Middle America, crossing the South Pole, there's land bigger than the United States, filled with resources that no human has ever set eyes upon. So Middle America, right here.
Yeah.
Crossing over Antarctica, crossing the pole, puts another continent near Africa and Australia, bigger than the United States, that no one has ever set foot upon. Where is it? How come no one's discovered it out here? Okay. Mm-hmm. Right. He goes on mainstream news at the time, beginning of television, and tells the story. And then literally a year later, he dies in his sleep, or less than a year later. And they say we're going to the moon. Antarctic Treaty goes into play. And they, he gets when he did this, he got a huge ticker tape parade. Then he went on the news, and then that might have been the time where they said, you know what, we have to hide this from people. We can't we can't let everyone know this, right?
What was the date?
It's late 1950s. right? And then 1959 or 8, the Antarctic Treaty was put in effect. A bunch of countries signed it, and then all the countries in the world basically have signed on. This is Admiral Byrd on the news. What do we see behind him?
A flat Earth
clock, too. It's a flat Earth clock.
Wow.
Sky is a perfect clock because we live in an intelligently designed system. Right?
Holy moly.
Got it?
I'm getting it. I'm getting it.
Let me just do one more thing for you. One more. Okay. So this is a ship tracking site, and you can go on anywhere and you can find it. You can click on any of these ships and they'll tell you where they're going, who the captain is, where they're registered. We found a ship. We found a bunch of ships deep inside Antarctica, right? This one is 730 miles from the shoreline. How did it get there? Right? It's according to Google Earth, it's 1.9 miles higher than the ocean. How would it get there? How would it get there? I mean, if you could say, oh, well, the ice melted and he was able to get that far in, well, then the top of the ice, like it was 1.9 miles of ice above them,
1.9 miles of ice.
Then we found another one, 905 miles. That's almost in the middle of Antarctica. How did an active ship get there? So we clicked on one of them, and it says it was registered. It did give very little information. And it says it was registered to the nation of Kiribati. Kiribati. Ever heard of it?
No, never heard of it.
Because it's the most important trade route. It's out in the middle of the Indian Ocean, right? And that China gave them 10 or 11 billion dollars recently, and America has given them close to that recently. Why are we giving this sandbar billions of dollars, and why are they an important trade route? Okay? Why are they an important trade route? Right? So, Antarctica, they say it's like 11, 12, 13,000 miles around. So the last person to try to just circle around it was Captain Cook. It took him 3.5 years, and he went over 68,000 miles. The equator is 25,000.
No.
How could he go 68,000 miles unless the Earth is flat, of course? Okay. Yeah. 68,000 miles. So on Kiribati, there's a Captain Cook hotel. All right. Weird. Maybe someone's just obsessed with Captain Cook. Okay. If we look at all the ships that are docking at Kiribati right now, they have one thing in common. No destination listed, which is weird. Or if they have a destination listed, it's Christmas Island. What are they trafficking? Kids? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Technology, chips, who knows? Where are they going? Right. And then there's all sorts of nuke testing that was done there. But here's the thing. If you look at time zones, okay, time zones on a globe would be an equal line from the north to the south, 24 of them. So you spin the globe and you have all of your time zones. Boom, 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 boom. Right. But there's this weird time zone at the date line that has this weird jagged shape. We zoom in on it. What the heck is this? Right? This crosses over 3 time zones out here. Right? When you look into time zones, you find out, there's more time zones in the southern area of the world and less in the north. That makes no sense on a ball. I think there's
that makes no sense.
Yeah, like 18 in the north and 20 and 32 in the south or something bizarre. But in this crazy time zone, what's right here in the most weirdest spot? Kiribati. Okay.
Wow.
Why is Kiribati over there? And so my suspicion is maybe the world is set up like this. This is just a zoom in. This map was found. It was published in the early 1900s in a Hawaiian Gazette, and it was found in like a Buddhist Buddhist temple that was like 10 centuries old or something. I'm not sure how old it is. Look at all these other continents. Well, what if Kiribati was here and these ships were going out here to these other lands, other civilizations, trading technology, trading weapons, trading food, tuna fish, children? I don't know.
Extraterrestrial.
Extraterra out here. Maybe this is where the controllers of our world live. Maybe these are amazing paradises. And look at it. If you went from here, Santiago is where you can go visit Antarctica. There's 100 companies all run by the same company that you book a very expensive trip. What if they took you right to the center here? And they said, you're at Antarctica. How the heck would you know? This is bigger than all of Canada, all of the United States, and all of Mexico. It's like twice the size. Okay. Wow. Pull up here and they tell you you're in Antarctica. How the heck are you going to even know?
No.
You want to go explore? Where are you going?
Holy smokes. You to me and Brian, I'm thinking you're thinking probably similar, but you've only made more questions for me. And I'm guessing my viewers will probably say the same thing.
Check this out. Google Earth.
Okay.
I'm going to measure South America and I draw a line about it and it gives me the measurement square miles. Beautiful. That works. Wonderful. So now we go down and measure Antarctica and watch what happens. Click. What is going on there? Look, it does this weird string. Now, if you think about it, the way they inverted the world, that makes actually perfect sense, right? So here we go. We'll go up and we're going to measure the North Pole. See what happens. And we get the same thing, right?
Really?
Same thing, right? But we can measure anywhere else, it'll work. We measure anywhere else. Here we'll measure Greenland, and it works perfectly. But the two places that you're not allowed to go physically, you're not allowed to go virtually. Okay? Right? And here's the last thing. Is how would you know? Let's pretend there's no television, radio, internet, nothing. No airplanes, just boats. And we're all living. And we lived here in this circle. I got Canada, a little bit of South America, Mexico. And we lived here. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you're not allowed to go beyond this white circle. Right? So what they do is they take that, they wrap it around a sphere, and they teach you this is where you live, but you're not allowed to go here because there's penguins and we can't disturb them. So this is all that you know. You don't know about Africa. You don't know about the UK. You don't know about Australia. You don't know about anything. Okay. And what if somebody from the UK landed in a farm in an airplane? You've never even seen that. You'd be like, oh my God, an extraterrestrial from outer space, because that's what all the movies told me, and couldn't be coming from anywhere else because this is the whole world. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
It's too cold for anyone to be coming from there, right? What if the world looked like this? Our giant realm, here is our pond. Now again, this is just speculation. We don't need to prove the shape of the earth. This is just possibilities that I like to think about. I don't know if they're true. We want the right to go explore. But what if we lived right here? This is our pond with our sun.
Yeah.
And cut it out. We wrap it around a sphere and say nobody can go explore here. Right? You're not allowed to go beyond 60 degrees south and explore there. You know what this is? This is a prison for your mind. This is limiting your thoughts. And this is to stop you from reaching your fullest potential.
Wow, that's an amazing way to end, Dave.
Thanks, Ben.
That's amazing.
Fascinating. I've never had. I did not.
Good.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Good.
I was going to say I didn't expect this much information coming for an idea that up until about an hour and a half ago was just crazy people think this kind of thing. So you gave us a lot to think about.
There's a ton to think about, and if you at least what I've just shown you now should make you more interested. If you go to my website, flatearthdave.com, the app is the best way, because what do we all do all day long? We all walk around with this thing in our hand. So why don't you make it useful? Yeah. Okay. Make it useful. And when you're waiting in line, when you're driving in a car, when you're sitting on a train, when you're kicking back on the couch, turn off Netflix, right? If you hit the web button and you scroll down right here, full length videos, the most amazing videos. Whistleblowers from the military, well put together pieces. There's a series called Level of the Next Level and Level with Me. I'm in two of those. I'm not telling you to watch them because I'm in them. I'm telling you to watch them because they're awesome. But if you go through this list, it's scientifically impossible to remain a globe earther after absorbing this information and looking at it and actually using your God-given common sense. tons of resources, the frequently asked questions page. There's all sorts of stuff. You want to get a cool shirt like this, hit the shopping cart, and then right there, great shirts, fun stuff. Flattoberfest, don't forget about that if you want to come. And I'll also be speaking at Acapulco. You guys know about that conference in Acapulco?
No.
It's called the Acapulco contest. After the 21st of October, there'll be a big pop-up on the app, and there'll be a big ad right here. It's a huge conference of truth seekers on all levels, from cryptocurrency to flat earth to medical freedom, all sorts of stuff. It's an amazing, amazing conference that someone's looking for a vacation. That might be where you want to go in February.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah.
I am out of words. I don't know how else to describe this, but mind-blowing. And you've really opened up a cavernous abyss, really, of finding this. It's not just a rabbit hole. This is a major.
Not the biggest deception in the world. Go into this, and then you'll find how it's even bigger. And this is the most important thing. This is how they got away with all of the other nonsense, from the false flags to the boogeyman, thing that goes into everybody. Think about this. All the countries in the world are fighting over everything, but they all agree on two things. Nobody can go to Antarctica, and everybody's got to get this thing stuck in their arm. Okay? Everyone's got to be a human pincushion, right? They all agree on that somehow.
Yeah.
Sounds like a conspiracy to me, the difference between
doesn't sound like a theory to me.
You know the difference between a conspiracy theory and a fact?
6 months.
No.
Yes.
Months now. It's going faster. So you can find
this is
go
ahead.
FlatEarthDave.com. If you have a show and you want to book me, there's a book Dave there. If you have new images, like if you have the app already and you would say, I wish they had these images, send me the images. There's a submit images link on the website down a little bit. And we'll just keep adding them to the app and give you the greatest resource. So when you're, flat smacking somebody and you want to pull up a picture real quick or a video, it's all there. Beautiful stuff.
Amazing stuff. I want to thank Brian for joining us on Unscrew the News. Dave, it's been an amazing adventure. I hope that we can do this again, and I can book you, and we can delve even further into this, everything that we question. So,
all right, man. Thanks for having me, Brian. Good to meet you.
You too. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having the patience to answer the questions that I've been curious about.
Sometimes if you go in chat or a Facebook page or something and you ask a question, flat earthers get triggered really easy because you know what? We're really sick of the trolls out there, and and if you ask a beginner question, which we all ask, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think you're a troll, and then they go after you, right? So flat earthers are we get very passionate because it's such an important topic. But what I say is, as long as you're asking questions, you have an open mind. Instead of coming in and go, flat earth is stupid because of this, go, I don't understand how this works with a flat earth because I'm observing this. Can you help me understand? And then we'll help you understand. So just, people that want to learn, don't, if you don't understand something, ask a question. Don't state it as a fact. Ask a question and see if you get your answer.
Very good. Yeah.
All right.
Amazing.
Thanks
everybody for viewing Unscrew the News. Bruce Scholl, Dave Weiss, and Brian. I appreciate you guys all coming on today, and we'll look forward to doing it again sometime soon.
All right. Thanks.
God bless.
Awesome. Thank you.